That is a Town of Lloyd, Central Hudsonville. I'd like to pay it, but. I don't know. You guys gotta pull these close, because honestly, you can't hear you guys when you're not here. Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. You what? What'd you say?
Yeah, this is the one on my table.
That's all right, I'll get one from Wendy. Now keep that. I need an updated agenda.
Well, here, you could have mine, and then I guess I'll get one from Wendy. You lead the meeting.
Is this the correct agenda or is it not the correct? The one I might have, is there a resolution Q on there?
We got updated.
Yes, I have a resolution Q.
Did you get it?
It's there. This way, I printed this off,
Oh, yeah.
that was yesterday.
That's from yesterday.
Wendy will give you another one.
No, but it's Sunday here. Who's on? Somebody's back.
Okay, good evening. I'd like to call a meeting to order. Eleni, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance to the flag, please?
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, to get us started, I need a motion to open a public hearing about tax limit levy.
Motion.
There's a motion, second from Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's open. Lenny, anything on EDC
No.
since we last spoke? Okay.
No, I haven't been to one of those meetings. Charles has been taking care of that. Charles Glasner.
Okay. Fire district, we'll talk about the lease later. Joe, Highland Central School.
Sure, thank you, Fred. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the Highland Husky varsity volleyball team had their annual Dig Pink fundraising event. And I think this is really cool what they did. They wanted to find something local to raise money for. So they found, during their match of Sororities on October 5th, they collected donations from fans for a local charity called the Camp Light Heart. And what's neat about this charity is that it supports children who have parents with breast cancer or... Would you like to-
Holy crap.
Okay. So it supports children whose parents either had breast cancer or they may have lost one to disease. So it's really a nice charity because it really recognizes the kid that is suffering at the time.
No, without doubt.
The Highland High School will be a Vax to School on November 14th from 10 to 5 p.m. This is a state initiative to make vaccination convenient for those who wish to participate. Children aged 12 and up are eligible, but registration is mandatory if you want to go. To register for an appointment at the Highland Vax site, you need to go to the Ulster County COVID Vaccination Resource Center. And you can find that on the web, and they also have it posted on their website. The Highland Central Schools District will be honoring its 2021 Husky Hall of the Fame inductees at a special dinner November 3rd. The event will be held at the Bad Seed Cider Tap Room in Highland, beginning at 6 p.m. This year's inductees are retired Highland Elementary School kindergarten teacher Darlene Platacek, Highland graduate and NBC News correspondent Scott McFarland, and the late Hobie Simpson, who was an attorney, successful businessman, and a community leader. If you'd like to reserve a ticket, you can go on the website, and you can also text Sue Kundra at 845-430-5679 by October 22nd. I know you're not going to remember that, but you can just go to the website and get this information. Winter sports is on its way, and registration is now open. So parents, if you have a winter sport athlete, the season begins November 15th. Practice calendars will be posted in the district website the week of November 8th, and physical forms must be submitted to participate. So please, looking forward to a great winter-fall season for Huskies. Keep up the great work. Our students make us exceptionally proud each and every day, and the Dig Pink is really a cool fundraiser. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Joe. Lenny, bring us up to speed with Highland Landing Park.
Last Wednesday night, we had the dedication ceremony for Bob Shepard. The plaque is on the rock. There were, I'm guessing, 50 people in attendance or something like that. I think it all went pretty well. A lot of the people that were there in the beginning spoke to get everything going. Bob's son, his daughter-in-law, and his 2 grandsons were there. So after we went through a little bit of this, that, and thanking everybody else, and a bunch of people had a lot of things to say, which were very, very nice. And then his grandsons unveiled the rock. So that I thought all went off very, very, very well. The water and sewer lines, I'm not sure if they did the tap to flush it yet. I missed those guys today. They were down there taking some stuff out. But we're pretty close to having water. The sewer line is all connected. It just hasn't been pressure tested. And then Richie has to get with Walter from Green Meadows about repaving the road. I know everybody's fed up with driving across the dirt, but I'm grateful for everybody, for dealing with it so we can get this job done. That's about it for the moment for that. As far as lights go in the town, at this present time, I'm working with the New York Power Authority to try to get, I thought it was 33 lights up at Bridgeview, but it's actually 34. There's one down in the parking lot that I had never seen. But they're also just on the 2x4s and 2x6s. So somehow or other, they all need to be replaced. But sent the guys some stuff today.
Never got the email from your phone, so we'll have to try that again.
Okay, we'll try that again tomorrow. And hopefully I can get to them and something can happen as soon as possible. You know how it is, everything takes a long time. The street lights that are out here and there, as soon as the election is over, I'll have a little bit more time, and I'll start riding around at night and sending the poll numbers in. And again, everybody, if you've got a poll number in front of your house and the light is out, just call me, 914-474-7050. It's on the town website. Give me the poll number, and I will call it in. That's about it for that.
Len, thank you. Anything on, well, that's lights.
Yeah, Lenny, I have a quick question. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, and I know you do such a great job with the lights. And we've been talking for a while about the Bridgeview light poles being out, and that Central Hudson's not responsible about replacing them when we need to replace the poles. Have we looked into, because we are playing our budget, did we look at what the cost may be to replace all those poles?
A rough estimate without sitting down, and we got to check a lot of the wires before you can come up with a price. You're looking at least 130 large.
Because I know that, from what I'm understanding, the tax cap, we're about 50,000, 57,000 under the cap. So that might be something that we might want to plan, maybe replace half of them since we're so far under the cap. Mr. Supervisor, did you take that into consideration?
Yeah, we were talking about it. We're also looking into, because that'll be next year, we're looking into either grants or how we pay for that. We haven't finalized the real numbers yet. Lenny's working with the Power of Authority to get exact numbers so we can go forward.
Thanks.
The guys from the New York Power Authority, that's part of, it's a grant process.
No, I know, and you do a great job. I'm just curious, because I know that
No, that's
when we were so far under the cap, I know this is something we were talking about. I know also the ambulance, we still don't have anything with that. The bid's in, and I know that it could be a large number, so I don't really understand how we're going to even settle a budget without knowing what that bid is.
We prepared for 350. I don't have an unknown.
Yeah, but we've been knowing about this for 2 years. We should have had out the bid already and had that number.
Okay, wait, I'm going to defend Freddie, all right? Part of this, because of me. I fell a month and a half behind, all right? And I'm sorry for that, but that's the last time I will apologize for that. So part of this, that it's coming in so late, is my fault.
And Lenny, I appreciate you that, but you're not the supervisor. So the supervisor's the leader of the town. He should have made sure that that information, we've known about that, but when he took office, this is something that he should have been aware of, and we should have had those bids. So I appreciate you taking the fall, but there's no need to, because he's the
Help
supervisor.
too, Joe, right? You could have,
Claire, we're not.
you
we're
could
not
have
putting
totally helped out,
Oh, you
right?
could have too,
Or Mike
Claire.
too, or me
Claire,
too.
you could have
So,
too.
yeah. So lay blame against the whole board, then. Let's
Oh,
just do
there you
that.
go, Claire. Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Claire, Planning Board.
Yes. So tomorrow night is their meeting, 5:30. We have old business Pepino food, which I brought the last time I was here. There's new business, there's subdivisions on Red Top Road. Then they're reviewing Lumen Lane, which is, I would imagine it's the lighting company. And one on 8 Sheep Lane. There's a lot line revision, I think, right? No, it's a low, solar for, I would imagine, a home. And then public hearings are Stewart's. Applicant is proposing a new typical Stewart shop convenience store, 3,850 square feet with a self-service gas station. So they're reviewing that, or that's open for public hearing. And then Tom Rousey subdivision on Station Road, which I have to say, I've been out there, and the subdivision out there is really pretty. They've done a really nice job with those homes. So he's looking to do that, 26 acres. Mountainside Woods, lot line revision, 1 and 3 Emerson Terrace. And that's all I got.
Okay, please, Jimmy, I want to turn this over to you while you're here. We have some news and some introductions.
Thank you, Fred. I have 2 of 3 of my candidates tonight here present. My third candidate had to work tonight. She's an EMT from Mobile Light, so she couldn't be here tonight. She'll be a part-time dispatcher. Kevin Doyle, he's a part-time police officer. He works Plattekill in Rosedale. He's a town resident. He'll be an asset to the department. And I have Nathan Spencer, who's a young gentleman who's looking to get his foot in the door in law enforcement. He's eager to work for us as dispatcher. And I think both of these gentlemen will be very qualified and an asset to our department.
Thank you.
Welcome, guys.
So while we have you in front of us, I'd like to go to Resolution E. Wendy, would you read E, please?
Resolution to hire Kevin Doyle as part-time police officer effective October 21st, 2021, at a rate of $21.20 per hour at the recommendation of Chief James Janso.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. F, please.
Resolution to hire Nathan Spencer as part-time dispatcher effective October 21st, 2021, at a rate of $18.45 per hour at the recommendation of Chief Janso.
Motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. F? I'm sorry, G?
G. Resolution to hire Amber Ackert as part-time dispatcher effective October 21st, 2021, at a rate of $18.45 per hour at the recommendation of Chief James Janso.
Is there a motion? Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Jimmy, thank you very much.
Congratulations, and welcome.
Thank you.
You got a great chief.
Thanks, guys.
Best of luck to you.
Oh, we didn't do this one. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, Rail Trail, Lenny, are we going to have Peter speak to this?
Yes, Peter,
Peter,
where'd you
please.
go? Thank you, Mr. Belizzi.
So a lot's happening on the rail trail. The rail trail applied for a grant for interpretive signage on either end of the trail, the Caboose and Summit Black Creek as a start. We got a matching $10,000 grant. We have Matt Kierstead of Milestone Heritage Consulting, who's our, thank you. Is our consultant on that. We hope to get started on in the winter. We also have the Jolly Rovers. They're working on the stairs coming up from the old 1889 rail bed to the current 1907 trail. They're pretty much to the top. They got a little more work. They finished their work out at Lemke up in Mohawk. So now they'll be back. Friends of the Walkway got a grant to help improve the area around Walkway over the Hudson, which includes the Hudson Valley Rail Trail parking lot improvements and the other parking lot. So we're working on the map to that, and the town is the lead agent on that. So we're working on that coming along. Sorry. Another point, just briefly, the last week and a half, there's been a lot of new graffiti on the rail trail and in Tony Williams' bathrooms and whatnot. Just ask that people be aware, and if they see something,
Say something.
say something, call the town or call me at 691-8588. And I just want to turn it over to Jamie Anson, our co-partner in Walktober.
Peter, can I just mention something about that? So families, if your child is doing that graffiti, please keep in mind, a lot of these things are dedicated in memory of someone. They're paid for through donations, some through taxpayer dollars, and we don't really have the money to replace something there's nothing wrong with just because somebody went and graffitied it. So if you have your children, talk to them and say how important it is not to tag something. It really costs the taxpayers a lot of money, and it also hurts families who have dedicated something in the memory of a loved one. Thanks, Pete.
I agree with that. Hi, everyone.
Good evening.
How you guys doing? Before I say anything about Walktoberfest, we have to honor Peter for his medal he received, his honoring.
Yes.
Saw it.
Right?
Congratulations again.
Well deserved, Peter.
He's too humble to bring it up himself, so I just did. So Walktoberfest was a great success, perfect weather weekend. It rained Monday when we were packing down. Peter and I were soaked, but the weekend itself was beautiful. The count that we're getting from parks is averaging between 24,000, 27,000 on the weekend. Last year was 18,000. So it's growing, and that's social distance. Mark Reynolds, thank you for the article you did this week on Walktoberfest. It's a true partnership. There was a definite net for both organizations. We're both happy with the partnership, and we're already in plans for next year. I'll be loading photo albums up probably this upcoming week. We had a wonderful rail trail meeting last night to bring up the details of Oktoberfest and some things I'd change about it. So, and I'm looking excitedly to the West Side Improvement Project, which we're working with Fred and Peter on. So we're getting closer and closer as we go. And you'll see a big improvement in the parking lot I'm very excited about. So any questions on Oktoberfest? All right.
But I got to tell you, it was really terrific. So I was up there, and keep up the good work. And I love it that it's the Highland and the Walkway are involved in something together. So thank you for
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it was great. Fred got me in touch with the car dealership, which you see our lovely little banner up there. It's a little tiny banner, just a little one. But he's allowing us to put another banner up there for the rail trail and the walkway. So we're in the process of designing another big banner that's going to go over and beautify that front of the building for a while. So, which is a good thing.
And the other thing I want to say is, being on the board for, 6 years, second term, it's great to see the relationships that's built between you and Peter, because that wasn't always a relationship between the walkway and the bridge. So it's so great to see that how you guys are working together and how you're including us, and that's terrific. And thank you, Jamie, because I know you were really, responsible for making that happen.
Thank you.
And Peter, I know that we wanted that. So thank you both for working together and taking it to the next level.
Absolutely. And thank you to the town for allowing the event to happen, because it could be a traffic nightmare. There could be a lot of stuff done, but it ended up being very successful and very joyful. So
There's a
thank
lot of
you.
people doing a lot of work like yourself.
225 booths this time. So we're
Unbelievable.
already getting people asking to be in for next year. So save the date, Mother's Day weekend next year, and the first weekend in October.
You got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
So if you guys haven't heard about this project, we got a huge grant at the walkway to put solar lights on the bridge, so that when you're walking by the lights, they'll light up and we'll be able to open the bridge up more at night. That's a good question. What's going on is we have to have a blacksmith work on the sizing of the brackets to fit on the railings. The lights are here. We're just fine tuning the brackets, and I would say it's going to be in the next couple months, but I can't be guaranteed it's on his level of work that happens. Oh, I didn't say, there's a save the date that's not official yet, but October 25th, we're opening our gift shop on the walkway. And October 29th, we're opening up the walkway at night, Halloween edition. So all you guys can show up in costume, and I'll have a little gifty for you.
Hey, Jamie, quick question. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. You may not know the answer to it. So I was noticing when I've been up on the walkway, that on the Poughkeepsie side, they have like the city bikes where you can pay to rent a bike. Is there any way we can get them on our side? Because maybe people would rent them and then go into a village and patronize our village, our stores more.
They were there.
They were there. What happened was Parks contracted with Shamrock Liquor to have a bike trailer on the Highland side. So Shamrock has rented a bike trailer that they keep there, and they're open sporadically. So I've been talking to Cheyenne about setting it up similar to Hudson Bikes, so it would be similar to that. But because of the two contracts on either side, Hudson Bikes can't be on the west side because our local Highland business is doing it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Len, anything new with water and sewer?
The last water and sewer meeting we had was with CPL and the fire chief, and went over the extension, water extension for Stewart's. And he requested an additional fire hydrant, and I believe that's all in place. And I guess we're going to vote on moving that forward afterwards. That was basically it.
Great. Michael, ZBA.
The ZBA Falcon Ridge, their public hearing is still open. They're seeking a use variance. They want to, they're kind of they are landlocked to get to their property. So they're seeking a use variance to get a road put through, and it's got to go through an LI zone. So the public hearing is still open. It's set for December 9th, and I guess we'll have a vote by then.
Great, thank you. Under old business, the ambulance service RFP is on the agenda. We have questions, we can do that under discussion. While we're still under reports, I had a conversation with Jonathan Jacobson, our assemblyman. As you know, we've been working on some degree, some type of rent stabilization. There's a process out there. There's a bill called Good Cause Eviction Notice. In our supervisors and mayor's meeting on Tuesday morning, the city of Kingston, the town of Woodstock, the town of New Paltz, and now Ulster County, those three prior entities have a law. Ulster County, the legislature is now working on a law. I had a conversation with Deputy County Executive John Milgram. My secretary has now reached out to the respective towns in the county, the Ulster County legislature, to get copies of their laws and the total bill. So moving forward, we can look at this good cause eviction notice. Part of that bill deals with your rent and what can happen when your lease expires and how much it can go up, and various degrees of that. So we're looking forward to working on that. We'll set a committee up and put that together as we go forward. Under any other old business?
Yeah, Freddie, quick question.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm really excited to hear that because it's something that I've been talking about and something that I've really been behind. I wanted about the, saying that a rent increase cap of being under 5%, and I found out a lot that we really couldn't do that. And I found out about this good cause eviction, and a lot of towns are doing it.
Yep.
So I really, can we get that committee set up, and more importantly, within, work quickly to get that law passed? Because I actually spoke to our senior citizen complex at Vineyard Commons, and it was sad. A lot of the people are really begging me to come to the board. So I'm glad that, great minds think alike, I guess.
Yep.
That you pre-thought about before I mentioned it, because a lot of them were pleading, please, could you guys do something? My lease is going to be up. They're raising us almost 10%.
It's pretty disturbing.
Yeah, it's sad. And the sad part is that, some people say, well, they can move. Well, they can't, because to move, being a senior, you need somebody to move you. It costs anywhere
Thousands
from
of dollars.
25 to 3,500 to move in, and then 25 to 3,500 to move out. And even find a place right now is almost impossible. And now you're uprooting them. Now they've made friends, and it's sad because when you keep going there, you know, I've gone there to campaign, I've gone there to speak, and the faces change so quickly because they get, you know, they can't afford to live there anymore. So it's a great law. Could we really try and get this?
To that, fortunately, there's towns that have passed the law, so we'll have those to look at, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'm waiting to see what the county has in the law. As soon as I get copies of everything, I'll distribute it to the board, and we'll put a committee together and move forward with it as quickly as we can.
Freddie, a question. I don't know if you're ready to talk about this. Could you just speed us up on REPCO, where we're at with that?
Where the next move of REPCO is, we just got, as we finish budget, we're trying to set up, we will be setting up a meeting in the next couple of days with one of the newer people that are there to discuss what projects we have going forward and what projects we have going backwards, and so she can have that whole list. They have our law, and we're proceeding forward with that.
Did they give you any time frame of when they should be able to start setting up a committee so we can start enforcing the
No,
affordable?
that I don't have yet. As soon as I get that, I'll certainly share it with everybody. Okay, under new business, I guess first what I'd like to open actually we can open the floor up. As you know, the state of New York passed the marijuana law. It's the way I understand it, if a town or a village wants to opt out, we have to do something prior to December 31st of this year. If we like the law the way it is, aside from how we may or may not want to make adjustments to it through our zoning or special use, it just becomes law January 1st. At this point, I've heard lots of positive reports from citizens and from committees, from EDC. So if there's anybody here tonight that would like to speak to it, we would certainly would entertain your comments. Yes. Please come to the mic.
Sure. Absolutely. I'm sorry. Sure, thank you for...
Speak, yeah, unfortunately, you got to go get right to the microphone.
Okay. My name is Timmy Elsner. My husband, Bill Meltzer, and I bought our home in Highland in October 2012. And I want to thank you for letting me speak. This is my first town meeting. It's pretty exciting for me, actually. At the time I moved here, I was working as a judge in New York City, and Bill was working as a lawyer. We've both retired since then and are really happy here. We were attracted to the beauty of the farmland and the sense of peace that the natural landscape provided, and once we moved into our home, we realized how lucky we were to be here. And our friendly neighbors and the small town atmosphere gave us comfort and a sense of place that we were missing in the city. Over the years, we were excited by the success of local businesses like Du Bois Farms and the Bad Seed Cider Company, and all the improvements in the walkway over the Hudson and the rail trail, which have attracted many visitors. According to the walkway fact sheet, there have been over 600,000 people in the last year who are using the walkway. We haven't noticed any negative effects from the crowds, and we have noticed that our downtown has become more vibrant with new restaurants and an art gallery. The things that drew us to the town of Lloyd and its proximity to the walkway and Metro North make it uniquely positioned to benefit and prosper from the opportunities afforded from the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act. Many visitors to the town arrive by public transportation when they come up on the MTA, and they walk across the bridge, which would mitigate some traffic impacts. We have well-established business corridors on routes 9W and 299, which would allow for separation of these businesses from homes, schools, and houses of worship, and zoning laws limiting
The location of dispensaries and licensed on-site consumption businesses would enable the Village of Highland and the town of Lloyd to maintain its small-town atmosphere. The financial benefits for our town are obvious. Under the Marijuana Act, towns which participate receive 4% of the 13% tax collected by the state from local dispensaries and licensed on-site consumption businesses. These funds can be utilized however the town of Lloyd sees fit. So, for instance, I just heard mention for the first time, since this is my first town meeting, about the ambulance and the light poles and all these things that we may or may not have money to fund. This tax revenue that from the sales of cannabis could be used for that. For instance, in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, a town of 7,000, the tax revenues reportedly total in excess of $6.7 million since fiscal year 2019 for monies generated from sales tax from increased restaurant and hotel occupancy, and also cannabis related sales. That town is contemplating how to spend this money in ways that benefit not only visitors, but its residents. Rather than raising taxes to fund school and municipal projects, it has enough revenue to support improvements and establish a rainy day account. Our window to reap the benefits of the law is closing. The towns of Kingston, Newburgh, Poughkeepsie, and New Paltz, as I understand it, are opting to take advantage of the law. The state is offering a limited number of licenses. Opting out, even temporarily, may foreclose our chance to gain, while towns around us prosper. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Timmy.
Would anybody else like to speak to the, yes, please. Certainly, darling. Absolutely not.
Okay, Darlene Plavchek, 135 Vineyard Avenue. I would like to speak as a stage 4 pancreatic cancer survivor of 30 months.
Bless you.
I use medical marijuana to help me with cancer. Having it locally would benefit all of us that have cancer and use medical marijuana, and not just for those of us that have cancer, but for anyone that has medical needs desiring to use it. Right now, I have to either go to Newburgh, Ellenville, or Massachusetts. Having it locally would benefit me greatly, and I just feel that the positives outweigh the negatives, and I understand the concern, but at this point, for the negative benefits, I just feel that the council should definitely look at all the positive benefits, and I think there are more that outweigh than the negatives, and we should be considered rather than spending our money outside of town. I just think you should look at that and consider us for once.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Dara.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to speak to this tonight? Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. Please step up, give us your name and address, and speak into the mic.
Hi, I'm Audi Martel. I live at 213 Pancake Hollow.
Just a little closer, that's all.
It's tall. I live at 213 Pancake Hollow. I'm also a landowner, and I own an investment property on 8 Woodside. I just wanted to say that I am in favor of the dispensaries. I have that investment property because I hope to have a business in Highland. I would like to see the growth of this hamlet. I think this town is unique and special. Unlike other towns around, we have Lenny's beautiful river front and landing. We are so close. We can literally ride a bike to the train station, bringing people, tourists coming from the city. So I feel like the dispensaries is a destination on top of all the assets that we have. I mean, we have this adorable town that has 2 art galleries, just mom and pop restaurants. Nothing is competing. And I feel like this would be a real asset. I have spoken to members of the community, and the one concern that I hear from people is I'm kind of for it, but I have young children, and now I'm questioning if that's a good idea. And I don't have children. I pay a lot of school taxes, and I would love to see our ratings in the school district in Highland, which affects our property values, go up. And I feel, like Timmy stated, that this increased revenue would help our school district and all of the opportunity, or all of the things that we need money for. So that said, that is my argument on behalf of children. I feel like if you're a teenager, you're going to find that in New Paltz, Poughkeepsie. You're going to find it anywhere. We all did when we were teenagers. At least I did. And that's it. I just love this town, and I think it's a great opportunity.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Audie.
Anyone else like to speak this evening on this issue? Okay. B, I just want to discuss briefly. There's Peter and I have had this discussion. There's a piece of property that's being sold to City Hudson. They'd like to do some cleanup on it. They want to access it by the rail trail. Lenny, myself, and Peter are going to meet with them this week so they can give us some idea what they're looking to do and whether we need to let them use the rail trail or they use an alternate means. The next three are on the agenda. Privilege of the floor. Yes, Mark.
I just want to follow up with the building that came down on Mariners Harbor. I foiled and got a lot of documents on it, but I didn't see a document, and tell me if it's required or not, that a person needs to first check to see if there's any asbestos or chemicals. Is that required prior to tearing a building down?
I don't know the answer. That would be a Dave question. I don't know if I know that there's now a statute out there by the state, and I don't know whose responsibility it is and when it needs to be done. That would be a planning that one upstairs question.
Because I didn't see one in there. I'm assuming that maybe that was not looked at, but I think, is that not the problem with this particular tear down?
That's my understanding at the moment, that they're looking at that. The state is looking at that.
Has there been any fine levied by?
Not to my knowledge.
Against the town? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
And just so you know, the old property owner, I had a conversation with him, and he said there was no asbestos in that building. So if that, because I called him about it. Yes. And actually, he said that the part that they took down was, the back end was just the offices, and just a tiny, shell was left. That's what came down, because I called him after the last meeting. Yep.
Good. Any other privilege of the floor? Yes. Steve. I'm sorry, Mr. Pardee.
Robert Pardee. I was here 2 months ago inquiring about the incident we had on Tina Drive where the ambulance took, I think it was 36 minutes to arrive. I foiled the county and got redacted information, which I'm going to have to foil again. But the bottom line is that we had no ambulance, neither one, in the town of Lloyd for over 3 hours on that Sunday. And to the best of my knowledge, even after, when they picked up my neighbor and took her to the hospital, there was no ambulance routed back to Highland to be covered. And the question I have is that I understand the contract is up for renewal.
Yes.
Might be decided tonight. My question is, was any fine or any administrative action taken to punish or make Mobile Life accountable? Because basically, I think that they're just using us as a hub. And the county, when I asked for the information, they redacted where the ambulances were going that left Highland. So, they leave and they don't get replenished. And I wanted to know, did the town board fine them? Or is anybody going to fine them or make them accountable? I met with Lenny and I met with the supervisor, and I appreciate that. Didn't have an answer at that time, and I was just wondering, do we have an answer now?
To my knowledge, the answer is not yet. We got their report from September report, Margaret? We got their September report. We're looking at it now. There's some weighted average that goes on, apparently. And I understand that, how late that ambulance was out there, but we're looking into it.
When you mean weighted average, what, the national standard's 8 minutes to have an ALS.
Lenny, can you explain how that works with the average on the time?
Well,
Best-
initially, it was 8.59, 8 minutes, 59 seconds. But then when we kind of went into, to try to finish this year off with the amount of money that we had, it went to an overall average. Now, I'm sure that as late as that was, there probably is some penalties due. But again, with everything else that's going on at the moment, we haven't looked into it. But now that it's public information, I think it's important that we do.
Yes, because the national standard's 8 minutes, you give them 8.59, you know, they showed up 34, 36 minutes later, and from what I see, this is not just an isolated incident.
And Mr. Party, I want to say that, and I'm going to ask Lenny, because I'm not putting you on the spot, because I know you, every time I say it, you correct me by $1. What do we pay them for this service?
$236, $350,
And what did they want to raise us by how many?
$105,000.
$105,000.
Additional.
And it's sad. And this company has us over a barrel. And this company, when we didn't give them their what, Lenny? 105? 105 extra $1,000, told us that they were going to pull the ambulance out of the New Paltz, 299, that's in the borderline of New Paltz. And when we were negotiating them originally, I said to them, well, you know that ambulance, New Paltz, you're not in New Paltz, so you're running New Paltz getting those calls. And they said, well, no, it's to service Highland, and if you don't pay us the extra $105,000, we're going to pull that ambulance. Well, we didn't pay them the extra $105,000, but the ambulance is still sitting there. And one of the other things they wanted to do when we didn't want to give them the $105,000, they wanted to take the lateness clause out, that there would be no penalty. And this board really, and all of us, really said, no, you're not going to take that out. And they've been threatening us to walk, and I really believe that, and that's what I was talking about tonight, we really need to put it out to PRD, which I'm glad we're doing, and we need to get the other estimates from other ambulance companies. And one of the companies that is bidding told us that they're going to actually give us our own ambulance. It's going to be strictly just for Highland, actually lettered with Highland. So I think that it's time that sometimes when you do business with someone for a long time, they start taking you for granted. And our people are suffering.
If I might interject with something. One of the reasons the ambulance is still on 299 is Mr. Bragg, may he rest in peace, all right, told him, listen, till we get this straightened out, you guys can stay there for free. So we need to be grateful to him for that. So, and like I said, this is going to go out to RFP. We're going to, hopefully, we get a few ambulance companies, so everybody's got a sharpener pencil, and we need to straighten this out come January 1st, who's ever in there with this contract that we have now is written by our attorney, not by the ambulance company. So, you know, it's more or less to protect us now. So we're going to try to get that straightened out. It'll go out to bid tonight or tomorrow morning, whatever the case may be. So, you know, we need to ride on it a little bit harder and pay a little more attention, and hopefully we won't have these incidents again.
Right. Just let you
And to
know-
that, Sean, when it goes out, how long, from when we go out to bid to when we open the bids, generally?
Well, you have to decide tonight. Usually you open the bids within 30 days.
Okay.
And
Okay.
can I just comment, and Sean, you're an awesome attorney, and I love you to death, but I always think that sometimes two eyes are better. We might want to have Steve review it with you, so this way you have two eyes looking at it, the
Okay, well,
contract.
right now, we have the RFP. This isn't the contract.
But when we get the contract
Right.
from them.
You have no problem with
So
that.
can we have, when we do
Well,
get.
Sure,
thanks.
once we get the RFPs back, when we go to contracts, absolutely.
And maybe we can shorten that 30-day time up a little bit.
And maybe take the average. Because it used to not be the average.
Yeah.
They added that
And?
average to it.
Well, I've got a little bit of knowledge because I did risk management for a major insurance company for 22 years, specifically for fire departments and ambulance entities. The national standard is 8 minutes. I talked to a person who worked for the Department of Health who did reviews along, and based on his information, said, Bob, for the district our size, or town our size, he said to have a dedicated ambulance, which will be replaced by another ambulance when it goes on a call, he says you can expect to pay about $350,000. That would be about the average, give or take. He said, what you're paying now is cheap, and that's why they're jumping other calls, and that's why you're not being backfilled.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Bob, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Any other privilege of the floor? Seeing none, Wendy, let's go to motions and resolutions. Would you do A, please?
Motion to approve minutes of the regular board meeting, town board meeting on September 15th, 2021, and the special meeting on September 29th, 2021.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
As a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry, discussion, yes, Mike.
Yeah, on that last town board meeting, when we discussed the firehouse lease, I opposed I had a disagreement with the cost of the lease. And in the minutes, it's not mentioned at all. So, for me to move forward, I'd be glad to vote in approval of the minutes if that is included.
And none of my comments were also included in the minutes on that discussion topic.
It is my choice what to put into the minutes.
Well,
We don't do per
too.
word, so.
the reason we have minutes is in case down the road, whatever case it is, if the attorney ever has to look back 5-10 years from now, I mean, that's a record of what happened at that meeting.
I agree.
And it should be stated. I feel it should be.
Okay, we can review them, so
Can I
that's
say
the.
one thing? I understand not having it per word, I get that, but there wasn't even a mention of me saying anything.
No.
And which meeting is that?
That was our last town board meeting when we had the
September
discussion.
15th? Okay, we will review them. You can just not approve them, and we will review them.
So we're going to not approve the 15th, but
Well, we could
approve the
vote on it.
29th?
I don't really think that, we don't need to hear everybody's comments. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Well,
But it's accurate minutes, Claire. It's not about on
Yeah.
and on and on.
I know,
There should
Joe.
be some.
I know.
Claire, we're not arguing.
Well,
People
well,
have to
it's
hear your
about
grandstanding
process.
Well,
and
listen,
your fake thank
but-
yous.
Matter.
Mike, are
I
you
get
comfortable with Wendy correcting the minutes?
No,
Yes.
I think that when the minutes, we should table it, and we should have the minutes corrected, and when we receive the corrected minutes, we can revote.
Well, there's a motion and a second.
I'm requesting that they be tabled. Do I have a motion?
And I'm requesting that we vote on it.
Well, there's
Hold on, I made the motion.
There's a
Claire.
motion to table. Is there a second? Seeing none. On the motion, to approve the minutes. All in favor?
No.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
3 yeses, 2 noes. B,
Resolution to authorize the payment of vouchers as audited by the Audit Committee.
is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion and a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion to close public hearing on the override for the tax levy. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion and
Discussion.
second? Yes, discussion.
So, I'm concerned about this budget. I was concerned about the one last year because there's a lot of inaccuracies. I asked for meetings to be held when all of us could make it. Some of us have full-time jobs. I understand some of us are retired and things are easier for others. However, there's the ambulance contract that we talked about. $350,000 has been put aside. I don't know if that's enough or not enough. There's $51,000 approximately under the cap. So it's telling me already that there's mistakes in this budget.
Why would you
So-
say that, Joe? You did not participate in one meeting.
Excuse me.
And you weren't here on
Excuse-
Monday's meeting, so
Excuse me. So, I'll tell you, I broke my tooth and was getting an
Okay.
emergency root canal.
Okay, well, that's, you broke your
So,
tooth.
any rate, and and also, the last Wednesday of the month is reserved for Wednesday. We're just making up whenever we're having board meetings when it's supposed to be the last Wednesday. Also, Claire.
What are you
there's
talking
time
about?
constraints, Joseph.
So,
so
Claire.
That's
well,
what,
I'm
that's
sorry,
why
No,
we
I
did.
haven't gotten an agenda. I haven't gotten an agenda since Mr. Pizzuto's taken office as supervisor.
Well, then you got a
on
problem with your
Friday.
email, Joe.
No, I don't.
But
I get
I'm
'em.
sorry.
I
Everybody
do
else
get
gets them
them.
but you.
I get them.
You're the
Anyway,
only one that doesn't get the
so
agenda, Joe.
I did request to have meetings after 5 o'clock. Now, one meeting was held after 5 o'clock for budget. As a town elected employee official, I can request that. So it's not that I didn't want to participate, but I do have a full-time job, and I did request for the meetings to be held after 5. Not one was held after 5, so therefore I couldn't make them. I did read the information. I did review the budget. I'm concerned that this budget is just maybe thrown together as a way.
Oh, my God.
What are you talking about, throwing? How could you make that statement since you weren't here?
Okay,
I
so-
said my
Claire,
piece,
stop.
and that's where I'm at.
So I'm
Well, you
going to
can- let's-
state that,
you
no,
can-
I want to say
he
something.
could have his opinion.
I, as sick as I was, called Kendra and had conversation with Kendra, and then I called Dave, had a conversation with Dave. I called Jimmy, had a conversation with Jimmy. I called the highway department, had a conversation with them. So as your due diligence, then you should call them and see what's really going on with the budget, Joe.
Who else
Like
did you call, Claire?
I
Did
did.
you call
I called
anyone else?
all of them,
You
Joe.
called so many people.
I did, because it's important to find out what everyone's opinion is on their particular part of the budget, and then go to Kendra and then weigh it all out. And that's what I've been doing.
And I spoke with Kendra.
Okay, so,
And I
and
reviewed
to
it,
say that
and
she's done things
I didn't say she. So
haphazard,
excuse
or
me,
that there's
excuse me,
mistakes.
Excuse me.
Stop, this is not a two-way
unfounded.
street here. Stop,
Excuse me,
stop.
Ms.
And it's really
Winslow.
ridiculous.
Stop it.
No, you're ridiculous with your
Stop
comments.
it, the both of you.
It shouldn't be about attacking anyone. It's
Oh,
about
my
me
God.
raising.
You attack people,
No,
Joe,
You
and then
gotta
you say
both
thank
stop.
you.
Children, come on here. Let's
So, Ms.
get back
Winslow,
on the track.
What I'm going to say is I never said Kendra, because as we all are aware,
Mistakes, Joe.
keep interrupting me. Or do
I'm
you let
just
me speak?
asking. Why
So-
don't you just
so
tell us
as
who
we
you
are-
think makes the
Well, if
mistakes?
you let me, we all know that the chief fiscal officer, the chief finance officer, the person responsible for the budget, is the supervisor.
That's correct.
it.
Done a fine, and I will say they've done a fine job.
It's actually the town board's budget.
So,
the town
no,
board's
he's the one
responsible
that's
for the budget.
responsible
So maybe
for
if
it
you
when-
came on
No,
Monday.
Joe, the town board's responsible for the
Call
budget.
in, that's right,
when
and
you
that's
got the
why I'm
pack on your
questioning it.
tooth.
I'm questioning
Like
it.
I
I'm
called
saying
in
my
the first
piece.
day that I was really sick. You know, it is what it is, Joe. You do what you can for the town. And Lenny, you know, I know he goes on about the ambulance, but I think he doesn't understand how much that you and Fred do all the time.
Okay.
And that what you saved the town, both of you.
All right, I have to say this, all right? Listen, I've sat in with 3 budget meetings, all right? Went over everything with Kendra, watched what she did, and Margaret. I do not have, I'm the one last year that said, wait a minute, we got new people doing this. And I'm just afraid, I don't want to vote, blah, blah, I don't want to get in trouble later, all right? I have nothing but the utmost respect for both of them and everything that they've done, Joe. Kendra comes running over there, well, look at this and look at that.
I'm not questioning Kendra.
I have faith in the budget that she did, and I'm voting yes.
And I have
But we're not
faith
voting on the
in
budget.
Margaret,
We're
too, by the
voting.
way. Just
I'm
saying.
not. We're not voting on a budget. We're voting to exceed the cap. And what I'm.
To exceed the cap.
Yes,
That's what you're voting on right
this
now,
is a,
Claire.
this is a
I see you
procedural.
really did a great
this is
job
a
reviewing that
proce-
information because you didn't even read the resolution. So what I'm.
You don't have to.
To exceed the caps, by the way. So what I'm saying is I believe in Kendra, and nothing I'm saying is directed toward you. I thank God we have you, and I really am confident in your abilities, but it's not Kendra the one I'm questioning. So, thank you.
Okay, well, I would say that Margaret, Fred, and Kendra have done an excellent job, because I have been doing these budgets for 4 years now, and I pay attention, and I've gone through them with them, and when I've had any questions, everybody seems to have the right answer of what we should do. So I have faith in the people that do the budget.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second to close. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
So we're not closing the
Oh, to
public
close it.
hearing.
To close it, yes, but we're on the, I thought we're on
So
the resolution.
right now, we're closing the public hearing. So
I'm
can
yes
I
to
get
close the public hearing.
Yes.
roll call on that? We're
Yes.
closing the public
Yes.
hearing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A motion on the resolution.
Right.
Roll call. Start with me.
I need a
Oh.
motion for the
Okay,
resolution.
is there a motion?
To override the tax cap.
Is there a motion?
Motion,
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
No.
No.
Roll call.
Aye.
Shouldn't call your name yet.
Roll call. Pizzuto.
No.
Winslow.
Yes.
Akmoody.
Run this by me again?
Well,
Why- do you wanna- do you wanna
it's a motion to
override
go
the
over, But
tax?
we're not going to go over it. so-
You don't have to vote for this.
No,
either.
we don't
It's your
vote.
call, either way. I'm voting no. I will not go over the cap. I'm a no.
All right, I'm a no.
We're not going to go over it anyhow.
Just
And
making sure
I'm a
we're
no.
rolling right.
No.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Four noes, 1 A.
Yeah, we're not going over it.
Thank you.
Resolution to accept the resignation of part-time police officer Kaylee Gannon, effective October 31st, 2021.
Motion.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Go to H.
Resolution to close Main Street from Church Street to the intersection of Woodside Place and Vineyard Avenue from Main Street to Milton Avenue on Saturday, October 30th, from 3 to 9:30 p.m., with no parking on these sides of the street after 2 p.m. for the celebration of Halloween in the hamlet.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we discussed, we've spoken with Barton LaJudas. We have 5 grants all rolling around. They are also involved in 2 of our projects, the Tilsonava realignment and the streetscape downtown. They've agreed to run our grants for a dollar amount which you had in front of you, not to exceed 17.5. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. J, please.
Resolution to authorize Supervisor Pizzuto to sign the supplemental agreement number 1, architectural engineering consultant agreement for streetscapes improvements in the Highland Hamlet, which was sent to the board members on 10/21.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion.
The discussion, yes, Joe.
So Freddie, this is when they came bring us presenting of the different scenarios, the signs and the colors?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Which one did we actually color?
We have not made the color determination yet.
So there's no increase in depending on which one we pick?
That's correct.
Because they were saying something that if we use something old, it would be cheaper.
Yeah, there's some variations, but it wasn't a broad difference. We will have something to say with that within the board.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Resolution to approve the 2022 tentative budget as the 2022 preliminary budget.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Discussion.
Yes.
So I'm concerned about passing this budget because once you pass it from a preliminary to a tentative, anything that is changed is got to be done through board resolution.
So you're going from the tentative to the preliminary, and you can't change anything until the public hearing on the 3rd, November 3rd.
And then we
And
can-
November 3rd, at that
But
point,
then
you
it has
can
to be
change.
done through board resolution, correct?
Has to be at the public
Yeah, you would
hearing,
have to do it by
Through board
resolution.
resolution.
At the public
So
hearing.
the reason is, I'm just saying is that 51,000, I'm concerned is a large number to be under the cap. So I would say to really review our numbers before we move to the preliminary.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
3 yes, 2 noes. L.
Resolution to set the public hearing on the 2022 Town of Lloyd preliminary budget for November 3rd, 2021, at 7 p.m. at Town Hall.
Motion.
Motion and second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
M.
Resolution to authorize supervisor to send out RFP for ambulance service contract.
Motion.
Motion's there second?
I think you should just pick a date on when you want the proposals back.
What would work? I mean, if we don't do 30 days, what's reasonable?
Peter, what'd you say before?
You have to adopt the budget by the 17th.
15? Peter says 15 days.
Does that give both companies ample time?
That's what's today. So 15 days would be the 4th.
I would say we're not going to make it, if you've passed, I would say give them the 30 days. You've already,
Well, you could do if you,
If you want to go 30, we go 30.
I would go 30, giving both
Okay.
participants a fair
I mean,
shot.
it's up to you. I mean, if you want to do it before, you could do it the 1st, so that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I'm going to go either way with this.
Did we
Lenny?
call both vendors and see if they can have a
Well, I
proposal?
think you're anticipating at least 2 vendors. I mean, if there's any other vendors out there, but if those 2 vendors, I think, are anticipating that this is going to be,
Yes.
there's going to be a request for proposals.
Lenny, I know you've been working with them, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Have you talked about the time frame of them being able to do?
No, I really didn't, but they're both ready to go. I called them both today and said, we're going to vote on it tonight, so, hopefully tomorrow things will start going out. But I didn't ask them how many days they thought they needed.
You think 15 days would be substantial?
Well, actually, if we go 12 days, then we have it the day before our next meeting.
Well, you would have it Monday, 12 days, you'd have that Monday.
I have a Peter, do you have any idea, have some suggestion on this for days?
Original thought process was that they had, when the RFP went out, they had 5 days to ask questions. They had 10 more days to submit the proposal.
Okay.
If you just want to just cut it down to 12, it just.
Can we say 12 days, providing we've got 2 proposals?
Well, you don't have to accept the proposals. I mean, if you're not happy with the proposals, you don't get the proposals, you can put it out again, and at that point, you're going to be beyond the budget anyway. So, I mean, it's just the only way you're going to get it before the budget is if you put it on for the 1st. Like I said, if you don't get acceptable proposals at that time, you could
No,
just
it's
send
just, I don't
proposals
think,
and get out
I don't want to
again.
hamstring I don't want to hamstring the vendors, unfortunately.
It's not going to be a 5-minute review either.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, I think if you put it, you're anticipating, I think you have some expectation that you're going to be in that $350,000 range.
Right.
So I think if you give them 20 days, 15 to 20 days, then you're out.
20 days? 20 days?
You're gonna be beyond
He's the
budget.
attorney.
Yeah, I think you need to, I hear where Sean's coming from, because the concern is that if your number's wrong, and it's $400,000, that's what I'm saying about the 51 that you have, you gotta be able to change the budget. And what Sean's saying, if you go over to 12, you may not have enough time to do the resolution to change it. Is that what you're insinuating? So that's why I said, if you make it that 12 days pending you get 2 proposals,
You're
then
going
we
to
know.
get 2 proposals,
So that's
I'll
why,
guarantee it.
so then, if you do the 12 days conditional about, we get at least 2 proposals, I think we're fine, because then if we don't, we extend it another 10.
So the plan is to adopt the budget on the 17th, because the last day to adopt the budget is on the 20th. Your public hearing is on Wednesday, the 3rd. You can extend your public hearing and make changes, but the last day, so you do have a little bit of time in there.
If you want to extend the public hearing to the 17th, you could do it on the 10th. That'd be 21 days from tomorrow.
So why don't
20
we,
days
can
from
we go
tomorrow.
back and extend the public hearing, or can we do that later?
Well, you would do
No,
that
the
on the
public
3rd.
hearing has to be held before the first Thursday after Election Day, so we're doing it on Wednesday, the 3rd.
But we can extend the public hearing.
Extend it.
But you can extend it,
Okay.
yes,
That
you can
time.
leave it
Okay.
open.
So how many days?
So 15 days, I'm back to 15 days from tomorrow would be November 5th.
Okay. So
I
it's
mean, you
50.
could put, and that's a Friday, so if you put it out until the 8th, that's a Monday, so the difference between Friday and Monday is not that much, so I would
Okay.
suggest the 8th, and that gives you 9 days before the 17th.
So a resolution that's out there, motion is to go out for an RFP, and the date will be November 8th, back?
Well, yeah, yes,
Okay.
unless, like I said, if you want to
On
shorten the
attorneys,
timeframe to
on
review,
attorney,
you could do it on the 5th.
okay, on attorney's recommendation, we'll run with the 8th. Any other discussion?
Is that, Sean, Fred, I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay.
So I'm looking at Sean's, are you okay with the 8th, or would you rather do it the 5th? Because it's looking like you'd rather do the 5th.
Yeah, I would probably suggest the 5th, because like I said, I think the 5th, that gives you more time to review and take a look at it, because you're under the gun for the 17th.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I would say the 5th.
So it's the 5th.
okay.
On a resolution? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
And then the public hearing on November 3rd normally is a workshop at 5. Is it going to stay at 5 and then go into the public hearing?
Well-
Or are we just going to do the?
Well, workshop is
open
at,
up
the workshop is at 4,
Well, 4.
but we can discuss that if we have to.
Yeah, 'cause I know in years
Because it's
past that's
both the
what we did.
workshop and the public hearing, we can discuss the time.
Okay,
So everybody can be here.
maybe come an hour early or something.
Right.
So you want to set that public hearing, I need to know, we're voting
Well,
on.
the public hearing is at 7, but then we have our workshop that day.
It doesn't have to be at 7, it can be at 5.
Yeah, well, what he's saying is you could set it at 5, and then go right from the workshop into the
So why
public
don't,
hearing.
I
Why
would
don't we do
recommend
that?
that. I would recommend do that.
So set the public hearing for 5.
Because we're going to leave it open anyway.
Right.
So then they'll still have the opportunity at the regular board meeting to speak.
Okay, so it's going to be 5.
Okay. Ready? Resolution N.
No additional public hearings are required. Okay. Where are we at?
We're going, resolution N. Yes.
This is where they're approving a stormwater control facility maintenance easement agreement for the Village at the Hudson Valley LLC.
Okay. Is there, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm a little concerned about this project. I'm going to be honest with you. I know the board members disagree with me, but again, I have a right to my opinion.
Yep.
One of the concerns I have is just lately, when our building director made a comment to our planning board as sloppy thinking. I asked him if he would present and prepare a opinion on should it go under the zoning board or back to the planning board. He did write an opinion. However, I disagree with his findings that there's no merit on why he overrode the parking to be allowed in the back. The terminology that he says the difference, I cannot find the terms in our town code differentiating to a parking lot or a parking facility. I don't understand how he has the authority to override our laws. So I think that this should be tabled until the parking facility goes back to the zoning board and they get the approval for that.
I believe
Because
that Paul Van Cott, the land attorney, is on, and he can talk to that.
Sure, he can
Yeah,
talk that.
I can. As you know, there was a question raised at the planning board September 23rd meeting about parking for this project. It was not an issue that was expected, and Dave was not present. He is the town's zoning official under New York state law, and he has the authority to interpret the zoning code. So we were really relying on him to provide that opinion. He wasn't available at the time, so the planning board had two options. They could either wait until Dave returned, or they could move forward and make a decision on the project, but add a condition of the approval that he would need to confirm zoning conformance, or as you suggested, Councilman, that he send it to the Zoning Board of Appeals. He has, upon his return, confirmed in writing that the parking for the project conforms with the zoning code. And so that condition has been satisfied.
Paul, I don't want to interrupt. Just a quick question.
Just let him finish. Let him finish his.
Because he made a comment, and I just...
Would you hold it? Let him
Go
finish
ahead,
his
sure.
comment,
Sure.
please.
Yep. That's it.
Okay.
Paul, you said under state law. What law is that he has the right to interpret?
New York State town law.
What section, code, number? According to law, what law is that?
Oh, boy, I can't quote it right offhand. I can...
Can you produce us? So I'd like to table till I see that law, because at the meeting, I kind of recall making a statement that you said that tabling it pending, you haven't actually recommended pending zoning board approval. If that was the case, why didn't you say pending Dave Barton's interpretation of the law? So I'm questioning Dave's ability to override our law. He may be able to interpret, but he can't override our laws. Because if so, then why do we have laws to begin with?
Yeah, it is his responsibility under state law to interpret the law, and that's what he has done in this instance. And under your zoning code, he has the responsibility for providing a zoning conformance station. So in both contexts, his responsibility is under state law, but also under the town zoning code for ensuring zoning conformance of projects that are brought to the planning board. And he, as required by the planning board, confirmed that the parking for the project conforms with the zoning code. So that issue has been resolved.
I like to say Andrew, I can't think of his last name.
Andy
Learn. He's our town engineer. The meeting prior to that, he brought up about the parking situation and that it was in the wrong place, and then they went forward with it. they went forward with it, and then there was some disagreement. And I know, to me, it doesn't look like it's being transparent enough.
And what I'm saying is, what's the harm, like, for it to go back to the zoning board? That's why we have our boards. You know, I'm glad Dave's interpreting, but Paul, your exact words is to interpret. He can't change or circumvent our laws. That's not, and you, in state, I'd like to see where in state laws, code or state law, it says a building director, and to my knowledge, we're one of the few towns, if not the only town in the Tri-County area that has a building director, that he can supersede or override our laws.
I don't know about other
No,
towns. Does it?
and that's not what I'm suggesting. He has the authority to interpret the laws.
And what I'm
of
saying,
your
Paul, is I
zoning
believe he
code.
interpreted it
And,
incorrectly.
excuse me, can I finish?
Yeah, you can finish, but we're just beating a dead horse.
No, you're
And
beating
what
the dead
he
horse.
did here
Stop.
is, in fact, provide an interpretation of your zoning code, and in so doing, confirmed conformance of the parking with the requirements of the zoning code. Under your use table in the zoning code, there are provisions regarding parking that allows for the adjustment of the front yard setback, and that's what we were dealing with here. And Dave found, I mean, again, you got to keep this in context. The front yard that you're talking about here is not in a residential neighborhood. It's
on 9W.
adjoins New York State Route 9W. And so it's exactly the sort of thing that the zoning code allows your zoning administrator to make an interpretation of. And that's what he did here. And in fact, he confirmed that the parking for the project conforms with your zoning code. Now, that interpretation has been filed with Wendy, and there's a 30-day period where someone can challenge that. And if that interpretation is challenged, then it would be presented to the Zoning Board of Appeals. What I will say with regard to the stormwater maintenance agreement is that the project, the zoning confirmation is not a condition that applies to the stormwater maintenance agreement. That's just a very routine easement that comes along with an approved project and is designed to protect the town and to ensure that the town can enforce the approved stormwater pollution prevention plan. So that's really all the town board is being asked to do tonight, which is to approve this routine agreement that goes along with any significant project. And you know, the zoning confirmation has occurred. That has been provided, as I understand it, to the planning board chair. I think Scott is on, so he could speak to that if you'd like. But it's Dave's interpretation, and you know, that condition has been satisfied at this point.
And Paul, I just want to make a comment. You know, you said that it's 9W corridor, it's perfect for that, and it is the 9W corridor. However, the depth of that property, the whole southern end of that project is residential. It's a huge development, so it's going to have an impact on residential neighborhoods. So you just say that.
Yes, and if you were to push the project back further, which in order to comply with the front yard setback, you would have a greater impact on those residential uses.
If we allowed the project,
especially the abutting landowners.
if the project was left at the size it was, the project might be scaled down, Paul, and then it wouldn't be an impact. And that's what we've been saying all along, and everything's been waiver, interpretation, even now, clearing land before approvals were met, you know, and the project seems like we're just pushing this project full bore, and instead of really waiting for information and taking our time to making sure that.
Okay, let's get back to the,
Yeah,
this is.
I can make my comment.
This is on the easement.
I'm not an advocate for or against the project.
I get
I'm
it.
an advocate for the planning board. The planning board has approved this project. They imposed a condition that said a zoning confirmation determination had to be made by Dave Barton. Dave Barton has made that determination. So these are the next steps that routinely go along with an approved project. And so that's all that we're presenting here for the board's consideration.
Any other discussion? On a resolution, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Mike?
2 noes? 1 no, 2 noes?
Oh,
Joe?
Mike said aye.
Mike's an aye. Joe, no?
Yep.
4-1, approved. Go to Resolution O, please.
This is where Stewart's is asking to be put into the Water and Sewer District, and it just authorizes the town to, or that authorizes CPL to do the map plan and report, and they will be, Stewart's will be putting an escrow, establishing an escrow account of $3,250 to start with.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Good discussion?
Yeah, I just want to point out that this resolution is for the sewer district. They do want to extend, they are requesting service for the water district and the sewer district.
Yeah, that's what Dave
So
said.
this
yeah.
is for the sewer district, so what we're going to have to do is pass another resolution, it's not on the agenda right now, but the same wording, but instead of for the sewer district, it would be for the water
Right, I
district.
talked to Dave about that.
Both extensions would need a map plan and report, and they're establishing an escrow for each extension, one for the water district, one for the,
Is that the third one that you sent me?
that's the third one.
So my apologies, can we, so it just basically mimics this one, only it says Water District?
Yeah,
Water district, and I apologize, I didn't check the.
Okay, so
We can,
can
we can
we
add
just-
that, we can add that,
add
could
that
be,
in?
yeah, after Q.
We can add it at the end, just,
okay.
you're right.
Okay, I
Okay.
apologize for that. I
On
thought
the
they were
resolution, all in
duplicates.
favor? Aye. Opposed? 0, 5-0.
Okay, Resolution
the
P is for the same thing for the villages, the village in the Hudson Valley, right?
Yeah, now, the
Sean, now you
village in the
explain.
Hudson Valley, they're in the sewer district, so they're not requesting for a sewer extension. They're requesting extension for the water district, actually for a portion of the parcel. Yeah,
half of it.
it's for two.
Because
two tax parcels.
didn't we bring the water up to when they did the self-storage, didn't they?
Self-storage, the water line goes to the end of the self-storage.
Was it supposed to go to the end of the property, though? Isn't
So the-
our law?
I think it goes underneath the road at that point.
The portion of the property that's adjacent to 9W actually is in the district. There's two pieces further back that are not, and that's where the extension's gonna be. Like I said, they don't need an extension for the sewer district because they're in. For the water district, they
Right.
need extension for the two tax parcels that are listed there.
Okay.
Same thing, they need a map plan and report, and they're establishing an escrow for CPL to prepare it.
Any other questions? On the resolution, all in favor? Aye. Since we're on this, Wendy, you want to read or insert, going back to Stewart's, the water district?
So
So it's a
Stewart
pretty-
Shops has requested that the town extend the Highland Water District to provide service to proposed facility.
On the resolution, is there a motion?
motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution Q. Wendy, please.
Resolution to authorize supervisor to sign the lease with the Highland Fire District for the police department in total amount of $60,000, $48,000 out of general plus $12,000 out of police contractual.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Roll call, Pizzuto?
Yes.
Winslow?
Yes.
Moody?
Yes.
Guerrero?
No.
Mazzetti?
No.
So carried. Is there any other business before the board tonight? Seeing none, yes, Mark.
Can I ask a question about something that just happened earlier? This is a question really for the attorney, Babcock. He mentioned that he urged the board initially on, when it came to the parking and setback, that the board not go forward that night, and that the setback should not be put in a condition.
think he's not on anymore. Why don't you ask tomorrow night?
Why don't you give a call?
You know,
Motion adjourned?
motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
So adjourned.
Thank you all for coming.
Oh, my God, this is really late.
What's the matter? You didn't get up to talk? Well, I couldn't have heard you anyway.